first conference we're going to preview, and it is the Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC, ladies and gentlemen. And we ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna dive right into it. To kick it off, ladies and gentlemen, the Clemson Tigers are your reigning defending champions from the ACC as they won it last season. Speaking of the Clemson Tigers, ladies and gentlemen, the Clemson Tigers have won the 7 of the last 8 ACC titles. Okay. They defeated the North Carolina Tar Heels up in Charlotte this past go around as the North Carolina Tar Heels won the Coastal Division, which was good under Matt Brown. Very, very pleasant to see. Very good to know. Matt Brown did a very good job with this team. Let's see how he can rebound and keep this team going because we know Clemson's coming up. Clemson stays up there. Can North Carolina be that next team to jump in there? They be to make some noise and whatnot. Also, Florida State, ladies and gentlemen, Florida State. And yes, those of you who know I'm a Gator fan, I really don't like saying this, but I am a fair-minded individual, so I'm gonna talk about the good state of Florida. And the Florida State Seminoles, after a bounce, had a hell of a year bouncing back from the 5-7 season that they had in 2021, missing the bowl game for the first time in forever. Okay, I think the last time they missed a bowl was before Bobby Bowden, or Bobby Bowden's first year at Florida State. That's how long it's been since Florida State didn't go to a bowl game. But that's what happened 2 years ago in 2021. Last year, they turned it around. Mike Knowles, third year in Tallahassee, he took the Florida State Seminoles to a 10-3 record. It was a remarkable job. And I always tell people when you hired a new coach, give them 3 years. Year one, take it however it is, okay? Because year one, the new coaches staff is trying to get to know the players, and the players trying to get to know the new coaching staff. So take year one as it is. Year two, you want to see a little bit of improvement, but that 5-7 record in 2021 wasn't good. So I can understand if some Florida State fans had felt some type of way about what they were seeing on the field and whatnot. But last year, year three, 10-3. 10-3. You can't you when you give coaches time, good things happen. Usually year three is when coaches can really show what the vision is for the program. Year three, you see Mountain West is building Florida State back. Now, are they fully back yet? We need to see in this year. So if they have another good 10-win season this year, then Florida State is back. But 1 year doesn't make you back. We have to see it consistently, okay? Changes in the ACC. No more divisions. There's no more Atlantic division. There's no more Coastal division. They are going into the 3-5-5 structure for conference schedule for scheduling in the ACC. What does that 3-5-5 mean? Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Each program will play three primary opponents once a year. So that means they'll have three opponents they'll play every year. Then the rest of the 10 schools will rotate in full season rotation. So I got it to where I can break it down for you with visually. With those of you who are listening to the audio, you have to bear with me on this one. So the first thing that was on there says each team will play three primary opponents annually. So there'll be three teams on each, every one of the schedules in the ACC. They'll play every single year. For example, let's talk about Florida State. So with Florida State will see Clemson every year. They will see Miami every year, and they will see Syracuse every year. They will see those three teams every year. Now, if you're a Clemson fan, you will see Florida State every year. You will see Georgia Tech every year, and you will see NC State every year. If you're a Clemson fan, you see what I'm going. So if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, every year you'll play Boston College, Florida State, and Louisville every year. So that's how that works. So those of you who are watching on YouTube, this is the teams. So the teams here on the level where the ACC, where the football ACC is at, those are the teams. And right next to when it says primary opponent, those are the three opponents they'll play every single year. Okay, that's how that works. So then now with the other leagues, so the other teams that's not listed as the primary team, they will see each other in every 4 years. Okay, so the fact that Florida State will not have Louisville every year, or North Carolina every year, they will see them once every 4 years. Okay, they will see those teams once every 4 years, and it'll be a rotating schedule to make sure that all everybody in the conference sees each other within 4 years. So that's how they would go. To give you even more in depth to it, here we go. This is how the conference schedule for each team is going, home and away for each team. So the Clemson Tigers, ladies and gentlemen, at home they will see Florida State, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and Wake Forest. They will go to Duke, they will go to Miami, they will go to NC State, and they will go to Syracuse. Okay, if you're a Florida State fan, okay, your home conference game will feature Duke. You have Miami at home, you have Syracuse at home, and you have Virginia Tech at home. On the road, you have to go to Boston College, you have to go to Clemson, you have to go to Pittsburgh, and you have to go to Wake Forest. You see how that works? This is what is going from this season up to 2026. Okay, let me go back to you because I hope y'all didn't miss that. So this right here is from 2023, this upcoming season to through 2026. This is how they will be scheduling until then. I believe that's probably I think 2026 is when the ACC contract ends. I believe it's 2026. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the reason why they did that. Now we got that out the way. The ACC media poll has came out, and Clemson is projected to be champions yet again for the eighth time in 9 years. Right behind them, it is the Florida State Seminoles with the North Carolina Tar Heels coming in third, North Carolina State Wolfpack at four, and the Miami Hurricanes running up the top five. You have Duke and Pitt tied for six, Louisville at eight, Wake Forest at nine, Syracuse 10, Virginia Tech 11, Georgia Tech 12, Boston College 13, and Virginia 14. That is the media poll for the Atlantic Coast Conference. They are projecting Clemson to repeat as champions with Florida State, North Carolina, NC State, and Miami, rounding out the top five. Now, let's see how that will bowl when we look at these when we look at these schedules. So you take the top five. What I have done is I took the top five teams from the media poll, which is Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, NC State, and Miami, and I'm looking at their schedule. I want to see how their schedule looks and what we can look forward to. So now, what we can look forward to here is that Clemson has Florida State at home. These are their key games, by the way. It's the key games. The key games that I looked at. Florida State at home on the 23rd of September. They go to Syracuse, the Q Dome, on the 30th of September. They'll begin the month of October with a game against Wake Forest. They go to Miami on the 21st of October. They go on the South Beach. They have back-to-back road games. This is the real one right here. So the 21st of October, they're going to Miami. Then a week after, the 28th of October, they go to Raleigh, North Carolina, to play the Wolfpack of NC State. The following week, they come back home and they have Notre Dame at home. They have a bye week, and they come back on the 18th of November and they host North Carolina before they in-state rivals South Carolina up in Columbia, South Carolina, when they'll be meeting the Gamecocks, who beat them last year at the Death Valley in Clemson. So that's a nice schedule here. Florida State at Syracuse, home to Wake Forest. We'll see how they bounce back from a good year that they had. You're at Miami and you're at NC State. Those are not easy road games. You're home to Notre Dame. You're home to North Carolina before you go to South Carolina. For the North Carolina Tar Heels, they opened up the season with the Battle of Carolinas when North Carolina and South Carolina meet in Charlotte, North Carolina at Bank of American Field. The week after that, week two, Appalachian State comes to Chapel Hill. Those of you who remember last year, the Carolina Tar Heels, they went to Appalachian State and they had a thriller of a game with North Carolina surviving that game. After that, week three, they play Minnesota from the Big Ten in Chapel Hill. They have a big game in October, a home game on the 14th with the Miami Hurricanes. Then on the 18th, they go to Clemson, and then they finish off the season on the 25th at NC State. The Florida State Seminoles, they open up their season down in Orlando against the LSU Tigers. Last year they faced off, and Florida State came out with a 1 point win out in New Orleans, Louisiana. They rematch it again down in Orlando, this time at Camping World Stadium, LSU, Florida State. After that, they take after that they will head to Death Valley on the 23rd of September to face off with the Clemson Tigers. They come home on the 10th on October 7th, so I say, to take on Virginia Tech. October 28th, a trip to Wake Forest. 11 November 4th, a trip to Pittsburgh. Then they home rivalry game with the Miami Hurricanes on November 11th. And then, of course, they finish off their season, this time in Gainesville against the Florida Gators. And those of you know, you already know who I'm picking to win that game. NC State, they have a date with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the 9th of September. To end the month of September, their next key game is home against Louisville. Then their next key game will come October 28th when they play Clemson at home. November 4th, they have Miami Hurricanes coming to Raleigh. So look at that. So far, they major key games are at home. Notre Dame at home, Louisville at home, Clemson at home, NC and Miami at home. Then they first real road test comes November 11th at Wake Forest, followed by November 18th at Virginia Tech before they come back home for their in-state rival with the North Carolina Tar Heels. The Hurricanes, on the other hand, week 2, they host Texas A&M. They faced off last year. Texas A&M won at home. SC Miami redeemed themselves at home in Coral Gables and take care of the Texas A&M Aggies. October 14th, they go to Chapel Hill to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. On the 21st of October, that's when Clemson comes down to South Beach to take on the Hurricanes. And then back-to-back road trips for the Miami Hurricanes as November 4th, they go to NC State. The week after, November 11th, they go to Tallahassee to take on the arch rivals of the Florida State Seminoles before they finish the season at home on November 11th against the Louisville Cardinals. Those are the key games for the top 5 teams, according to the media poll. I wanted to see how these teams do. As you can see, it's not going to be easy to win the ACC with this type of schedule. So we shall see. My pick, though, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to Clemson Tigers. I have to go Clemson. There's no other way around it. I have to go with the Clemson Tigers, so I'm going Clemson. As you can see here. And my first pick is in the ACC. I'm going with the Clemson Tigers to go back to back. So I'm agreeing with the media poll on this one. I ain't taking Clemson.